Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Easy Peasy with the Smithsonian. I'm Allison Leitner. I'm an instructional designer here, and I'm here with my colleagues Ashley Naranjo, and then Georgina Ardalan from DCPS, and Jim Reese from the Washington International School. In this series, we are modeling thinking routines from Harvard's Project Zero, and today's session is a continuation from our session on Monday, where we're looking at modeling routines for early childhood education. On Monday, we were joined by my daughter, Annalise, who's here in the chat today, helping us. We modeled See, Think, Wonder. And today we're going to take a look at a different routine called Think, Feel, and Care. So I'm going to turn it over. First we're going to start with our social emotional learning. So take a minute in the chat. And if you could be any fairy tale character, who would you be and why? So with that, I will turn it over to Ashley.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Allison. And I love that question. Looking forward to hearing everybody's responses in the chat. So my name is Ashley Naranjo. I am a museum educator here at the Smithsonian Center for Learning and Digital Access. And so each week we've been bringing you new easy peasy sessions. They've all been archived. And I wanted to mention too that along with each webinar also comes a Smithsonian Learning Lab collection. So at the end of this session, you'll also receive all of the resources associated with today's webinar. It's also linked for you in the YouTube description and searchable on the Learning Lab. So stay tuned. At the end of the session, I'll share a few of those resources with you. I'd like to turn it over to Jim from Washington International School.
Great, thanks, Ashley, and hello, everybody. Allison mentioned on Monday that it's Teacher Appreciation Week, so we're on the third day of Teacher Appreciation Week. So we appreciate you all, you teachers out there, and we're thrilled to have Georgina, a classroom teacher from DC Public Schools, here with us today. I just want to say that a little bit about this routine that we're using today, Think, Feel, Care. It comes from a project at Project Zero that's called Agency by Design, and it's really intended to build empathy in learners. And what we're going to see today is how that can be done with our youngest learners. And so Georgina is going to model that with us. And then we'll have some conversation about that as well. And if there's time, we'll have a little bit of a chat about a project that Georgina and I have both been involved in here in DC, again, originating at Project Zero, but having a local flavor in Washington, DC called Children Are Citizens. And Georgina has been a vital part of that project. And we'll have a chance to talk about why empathy is so key to that project if there's a little bit of time at the end. So Georgina, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you introduce yourself and get us started.
Thank you. Firstly, I want to thank Ashley and Allison for inviting me to chat about thinking routines in an early childhood setting. I'm really excited about today's session because we get to show everyone the Smithsonian Learning Lab collection and how the collection will support read-alouds like the one we've been doing. A huge shout out to the cutest and most articulate model student, Annalise. I think Monday's webinar was worth watching just for her, a YouTube sensation. And of course, a huge thank you to Jim as well. And if you're an educator in the DC region and you don't already know Jim, I encourage you to reach out. Jim has the Midas touch when it comes to professional development. Everything he touches literally does turn to gold. So my name is Georgina Ardalan. I am a preschool teacher in the District of Columbia Public Schools at a school called J.O. Wilson Elementary School. And we'll go ahead and get started. So on Monday, we reviewed See, Think, Wonder, and we talked about strategies that we can apply that thinking routine to an early childhood setting. And we also shared connections and modifications of that thinking routine. I loved that Susanna used the example taste, think, wonder, which sounds especially delightful right now with all the cooking and the baking that's going on in our house. Ashley shared that this routine was very transferable and that the strategies can go beyond the classroom. And Jamie wrote, it's a great reminder that slow looking is slow and it takes time and it's worth it. So we're going to try out a new thinking routine today called Think, Feel, Care. And to reflect back on Monday's social emotional opener, both John and Soraya shared that their parents read to them in different voices for each of the characters. And today we're going to take that just one step deeper. And we're not only going to take on the voices of the characters, but we're also going to take on their perspectives, their backstories, and their personalities. So before we begin to read the story, I want you to think about, we're reading the Three Billy Goats Gruff. I want to think about what character you would like to become. Would you like to be the small billy goat, the medium billy goat, the large billy goat, the troll? And this year's class actually decided that there was another very important character in the story that I hadn't thought about before, and that was the bridge. So we're going to include the bridge as one of the characters that you could really step inside and become. So I'll give you a second to think about who you want to transform into. Okay, got it? All right, so keep in mind that we'll define each of the verbs. Thinking is the voice inside the character's head. Feeling is what your brain and your body is experiencing. And caring is what is important to that character. Okay, I think we can begin reading. Thank you. The Three Billy Goats Gruff. Once upon a time, there were 3 billy goats. They lived in their valley, and all 3 billy goats' names were Gruff. There was very little grass in the valley, and the billy goats were hungry. They wanted to go to the hillside, to the fine meadow full of grasses and daisies where they could eat, and get fat. But on the way up there was a bridge over a rushing river. And under the bridge, there lived a troll who was as mean as he was ugly. First, the youngest billy goat decided to cross the bridge. Now, if you were the little billy goat here, what do you think the billy goat is looking at? And look at the expression on his face. How do you think that little billy goat is feeling? The bridge went trip, trap, and the troll roared, "Who's that tripping over my bridge?" And what do you, if you were the troll, what do you think the troll is feeling when he sees that first billy goat crossing over that bridge? The little billy goat said in a very small voice, "'Tis only I, the tiniest billy goat Gruff. I'm going to the meadow to make myself fat." "Oh, no, you're not," said the troll, "for I'm coming to gobble you up." "Oh, please don't take me. I'm too little, that I am," said the billy goat. "Wait till the second billy goat Gruff comes. He's much bigger." "Well, be off with you," said the troll. A little later, the second billy goat Gruff came across the bridge. And the bridge, this time, it creaked even louder. It went trip, trap, went the bridge. And the troll roared, "Who's that tripping over my bridge?" Now, if you were the second billy goat here, sorry, Ashley, do you mind turning the page? Yeah, here we go. Let's look at that second billy goat's expression. What do you think is important to this billy goat? What do you think is important to the troll? Well, the second billy goat says, "'Tis only I, the second billy goat Gruff. I'm going to the meadow to make myself fat," said the billy goat, but his voice was not so small. The troll said, "Oh, no, you're not. I'm coming to gobble you up." "Oh, please don't take me. Wait a little till the third billy goat Gruff comes. He's much bigger." Well, the troll says, "Well, be off with you." Now, the third billy goat is coming up on the bridge. And what do you think the third billy goat is thinking as he's about to cross the bridge? And how do you think that bridge is feeling as he's supporting the weight of the biggest billy goat Gruff? The bridge says, "Trip, trap, went the bridge." And the third billy goat was so heavy that the bridge creaked and groaned under him. And the troll roared out from under the bridge, "Who's that trapping over my bridge?" And look at that third billy goat's expression as well. What do you think is important to him? "It is I," said the biggest billy goat, "the big billy goat Gruff," but his voice was as loud as the troll's. And take a look at that billy goat, as that troll, as he's swinging up on that bridge. The troll's roaring out now, "Now I'm coming to gobble you up." Well, the third billy goat is saying, "Well, come along then. I've got 2 big horns and 4 big hooves. Let's see what you can do." So up climbed that mean and ugly troll, and the big billy goat Gruff butted him with his horns and trampled with him with his hard hooves and tossed him over the bridge and into the rushing river. Take a second to look at the troll's face as he's toppling down into the river. And then the big billy goat Gruff went up into the hillside to join his brothers. And in the meadow, the 3 billy goats Gruff got so fat that they could hardly walk home again, and they're probably there yet. So snip, snap, snout, this tale is told out. So that was a little bit about how we can use think, feel, care in correlation with the story, and really stepping inside those characters to really think about their perspective and how they're feeling and what's important to them. I'm just going to look at the comments here and see how you felt as you were one of those 5 characters.
So we had some comments. So Annalise said at first that the little billy goat looked scared. Mm-hmm. Joan said if she were the bridge, she'd be very concerned about all this conflict because she's rickety and might break. Stephanie said the little billy goat looked afraid and surprised. Then Annalise shared that the second billy goat looked confused to see the weird looking troll. Kirsten said as the bridge, she's determined to be strong. For the big billy goat, the third one, Stephanie said the direct eye contact to show strength and how to appear strong. Annalise said she thought the third billy goat was thinking about kicking the troll, but also looked very confused. Other stuff said the bridge would be groaning. Kirsten, as the bridge said, feeling like a bystander and watching what was going on as part of it, but couldn't really do anything. And let's see, for the troll, we have a NGVW, feel sorry for the troll and wish that they could have come to a peaceful understanding.
I love that was a comment too. And sometimes for the story, we find it really fun to make a sequel to the story. So what actually does happen to the troll? Or even could we change that ending so it is a little bit of a happier ending? The billy goats go and eat all the grass, but what happens to the troll? He falls into the rushing river. Maybe that river would take him to some magical land where there are all those other trolls there too. So I really enjoyed that people are taking on their perspectives of the troll and trying to change the story a little bit.
Georgina, I was thinking about being the troll throughout it as well, and I started wondering about the backstory, and we talked a little bit about you maybe getting to know the backstory, what got people to this point, or what's going to happen afterward, but also what might have come before it. So I kept thinking, okay, as the troll, what made me so mean? What made me want to attack these billy goats? Maybe I'm hungry. But are there other ways that I could get food other than attacking a goat that crosses my bridge? So I was thinking about those kinds of things, and I'm in the middle of binging on a very disturbing Netflix series right now called Ozark, and I just got to an episode in the first season last night when we start learning the backstory of some of the characters, and almost all of them are acting in a horrible way. And but now I'm starting to empathize with them and understand how they got to the place they are, and I think. That's what this routine was doing for me within this story in a very succinct kind of way.
Oh, I love that. And I really think it shows so much empathy when children are able to step inside shoes, and especially shoes like the trolls, and to think about their backstory and to think about how they came to that place. How did that troll get to live under that bridge? What happened to him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kirsten had a question here, and she says, she asked, can you remind us how you frame the care part for the children?
Sure. So we define care as what is important to the character. So it could be something tangible, like grass is really important to the goats, or it could be something that's intangible, like happiness. They want to go to the other side so they can eat and be happy.
And then Stephanie showed that through the story, we get to see different problem-solving techniques. So that first goat that comes over, the very small, the tiny goat, the white goat that's getting over the bridge is very clever to think of a way to get out of this horrible situation it finds itself in by sort of passing the buck and putting the other goat, the middle goat, in harm's way, perhaps, but escaping itself. So it's kind of interesting that we're getting different problem-solving strategies throughout the story, and certainly the third goat has its own way of solving the problem by fighting with the troll and pushing it over. So there's room for discussion then about problem-solving and what do we do when we come into conflict and those kinds of things.
Yeah. One thing that we actually love doing in our classroom is we, again, take about 2 weeks to read this book. So the first couple of days is simply a picture walk where we do a thinking routine, the See, Think, Wonder thinking routine, and we just talk about the story. Then we read the words and we learn the words and the vocabulary that goes along with the story. And then we'll do a thinking routine like this where we really step inside each of the characters. And once that is all done, we can put on a performance. So each of the children chooses their favorite character, and we do a classroom performance. First, we do it for ourselves, and then we invite special guests like Mr. Jim, who can come to our classroom and be part of our audience. We even get to, oh, thank you, Ashley. That is the invitation that we made for one of our performances, where our act one was the 3 Billy Goats Gruff. What was really fun about this performance also was that we got to make our costumes and we got to make the setting. There's some of our costumes there. On one snow day, we were in the middle of retelling the story, and we had a snow day. So I decided to take some time and make those little hats right there for the children. And this particular year, the bridge was not as important to the classroom as the characters were. So we just used this little platform as the bridge. I think in following years, there might be another image of a couple of children actually becoming the bridge. Sorry, Ashley, is there another picture in there? Or?
I'm not sure we have the other picture in there at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
That's okay. Yeah, so this idea of acting it out and then taking on different perspectives, again, is one way of building empathy and extending the story and certainly building on children's imaginations. I'm wondering, have they been able to tell alternative endings to the story?
They have been able to tell alternative endings. It's actually really interesting, some of the things that they come up with. Their favorite character, I have to say, is the troll, and what does happen to the troll, and why that troll, what had happened to him that made him so mean. They are really thinking about things that happened to them in the class, like maybe someone took his toy away from him, and that's why he's so grumpy and mean. Or maybe he's just hungry and that's why he's grumpy, because a lot when you're hungry, oftentimes you do get a little grumpy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Stephanie posted in the chat that she wonders if children might make a connection to bullying in school, because there's a lot of conversations about dealing with that.
And Carol just noted that you could rewrite the story from the troll's perspective, and others have commented how they've seen that done with other fairy tales or children's stories where, for example, Three Little Pigs could be told from the wolf's perspective to try to get at what has made him so angry and bad and big and mean and everything else. So yeah.
I love that.
Georgina, we've got a couple of minutes. I'd like to actually talk a little bit about this Children are Citizens project and why this exercise that you do, this is fairly early in the year, how this leads then to the kind of empathy building that you're going to continue to do throughout the year, and how Children are Citizens fits into it. I'm going to just give a brief description of Children are Citizens for those who might not know it, and then if you'll respond to what's happened in your own classroom. And you've done this over numerous iterations, so you've got a lot to draw from. So Children are Citizens just is a Reggio Emilia-inspired project that really helps teachers learn to listen to children's ideas about how they can make the city a better place and how the city could become a better place for children. And the idea behind it is to get a group of teachers across the city together to learn this pedagogy of listening, and then to implement it in their own classroom, and then co-create with their students a curricular project that is about taking action in the community to help make it a better place. So Georgina's done this many times in her classroom now, through the project and then on her own. And so Georgina, I wonder why this empathy building that you're doing early in the year is important for playing out in a project like Children are Citizens later on.
I think it's so important that young children, even as young as 3, know that their voices are heard and their voices are important. And what I love about the Children are Citizens project is that teachers and children work together to find something that's really important to them. And in the Children are Citizens project, we call that the IT. The IT could range from a guidebook to H Street to a special park, a special playground, a tree that might be missing from a tree box, and or even sharing letters around the city, asking for nothing else but for people to be happy. Yeah.
Great. We've got a couple of great comments in the comment section. I don't know, Allison, you want to grab a few and I'll grab a few?
Yeah, sure. So we're sort of talking about alternative stories. So Stephanie was asking, what if the troll were beautiful? How would that change the story? And another one was thinking about what about asking, and GVW was asking, what about asking kids questions that the goats might pose to the troll? So opening discussion with the troll instead of, and using words instead of actions, right? And then Joan has shared something she does in her classes. So she's assisted classes in telling their own versions of why frog and snake never play together using shadow puppetry and habitat details to research in science class, and making a science connection. And she said one story was set in a swamp during a hurricane, and another one was in the desert during sudden thunderstorms.
Good. And then she just added that students have also recorded sound effects for the story in music class, so they can do this interdisciplinary approach to storytelling and involve other things they're pursuing. Our special guest on Monday has asked a question. Annalise asks, have you found that all children with whom you've used this method increase their empathy skills? And I wonder what evidence you see of that, maybe in everyday going about the classroom. Where have you seen children maybe start using the kind of reasoning or caring or whatever as the year has gone on?
Yeah, you know what? 3-year-olds are really incredible. They're so inherently kind and sweet. And I think when we read stories like this and we're able to step back from ourselves and step into characters, they're also able to do that when they're just playing in the classroom. So they're able to feel if they're playing with Legos together, and someone snatches a Lego from them, they're able to really say, hold on a second, you did something wrong. Let's talk about it. And why would you want to snatch a Lego from me? So they really sort of like step back and think about what's happening to the other person that they're playing with.
Good. And does that happen early on in a year with 3-year-olds, or is it something that is happening throughout the year?
It's definitely, it takes a while for 3-year-olds to catch on. So it's a lot of language building and it's a lot of modeling throughout the year.
Good, great. I think at this point we're going to ask Ashley if she'll come back on and she'll take us through the collection, and then we'll have some concluding comments. Ashley?
Sure, absolutely. Happy to do so. I should mention that this collection is available in the YouTube description of this session, and the session is also archived too. So if you have a friend that you want to share this with, please feel free to. So in each collection, you'll see there's the title and a short description of what we've covered. There's also the thinking routines that we've used. So you can see here in Monday's session, we used See, Think, Wonder. And if you click on the I button, it'll give additional information about this thinking routine, as well as the purpose, application, and some tips for actually launching this in your own teaching. So certainly check that out as far as the routine itself goes. We've included just the first few pages of the Three Billy Goats Gruff so that you can also use the same activity that we used in Monday's session. And then today we looked at Think, Feel, Care, and we have a specific adapted version for early childhood that we've included within this collection as well. So that can provide a little bit more insights into how you might adapt a routine for a specific age group as well. As we move on, we also thought about the ways that museum resources can help kind of expand a child's understanding of some of the characters within a book like this. And so you can see here we have lots of goat examples in art. Who knew? But they're really kind of quite exciting to me. And I especially love the sweet little white goat on the right because of its kind of texture and the way that you can kind of really start to think about the goat in the storybook coming to life with that object there. So there's a few examples there of ways that you can use museum objects to kind of expand a student's understanding of the characters themselves. And so we have, of course, the goats and the trolls and the bridges. And then I also wanted to mention we have some context from Project Zero about thinking routines. So if you're just getting started and this is fairly new to you, this might be a good introduction for you. And then there's additional context about See, Think, Wonder. We've got a sample invitation from Georgina's class and their performance, as well as the example of the students actually performing the Three Billy Goats Gruff. We've also included some resources to pair with these routines that might be useful. One is a collection of narrated stories from around the world, and they're actually video illustrated storybooks. So that might be an interesting kind of twist on this idea. There's also a video from the National Air and Space Museum that also includes a story time that you could certainly apply this kind of routine to as well. And then finally, the archives for both Monday and today's sessions are available here. And you can also access additional information from Harvard's Project Zero and their online courses if this is something that's of interest to you to kind of extend your learning beyond just these webinars. So all of this information, like I've mentioned, is available for you. It's in the Learning Lab. If you search Easy Peasy, you'll see the series. This is, I think, the 11th collection in the series. We've certainly covered a lot of ground in terms of the types of museum resources that we've looked at, as well as the types of routines that we've looked at. So certainly check out this series as a whole, but then also think about how you might use this in your own context as well.
Okay. And before we turn it back to Allison to close this out, I just wanted to say something about the importance of acting out literature or stories in classroom. And there's been some really good research done about the retention that children have when they act out stories. So this idea of dramatization is actually really, really good for long-term memory. And it's one of the really strong bits of research we have about the importance of arts integration in that context of retention. Art for art's sake is what I really believe in, but we do have a lot of evidence that shows that dramatization, as Georgina's doing with these 3-year-olds, is really, really important for their learning. So I just want to give a shout out to that idea that it crosses boundaries and you can do it with children of any age. Allison, back to you.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Georgina, for joining us. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for joining us. Next week, we're actually going to be stepping back a bit to reflect on how these thinking routines fit into a larger picture of classroom and museum culture. So we'll be talking about using these thinking routines in practice in the classroom on Monday with some classroom educators, and then in the museum on Wednesday with some museum educators. So we hope that you'll join us then. Thank you so much, and we'll see you Monday.
Thank you.
Bye.